Straight ahead on Law and Crime Daily. Verdict watch in the trial of an Ohio woman accused of killing an Army veteran. Our experts break down the alleged murderous plot.
And unsealed depositions in the case of millionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, what his former house manager is accusing Ghislaine Maxwell of doing. Plus, a rescue caught on camera, how police saved this woman from her minivan sinking into a river.
Is there anyone else in there?
Here.
Is there anyone else in the car?
No. And a Staten Island man gets swarmed by officers. Hear from the man accusing NYPD of excessive force.
I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting.
Law and Crime Daily covering court cases from coast to coast. Welcome everyone to Law and Crime Daily. I'm Brian Buckmire along with Terri Austin. A noise complaint ended with a fight and an internal affairs investigation. Witnesses captured what happened on camera.
He's not resisting, bro. You can't be doing that shit. Yo, you can't be doing this shit. He can't breathe like that. No, but he can't do this shit, bro. Yo, but you see what are you doing? He can't breathe like that. Yo, you see what he's doing? What the fuck? Only one guy, bro? That fucking right? That's the fucking right thing to do with one guy, bro.
NYPD says Nemer Awadeh, the man you see here in cuffs, is facing charges of disorderly conduct, obstructing governmental administration, and resisting arrest. But his attorney says his paperwork only lists resisting arrest. Joining me now is Nemer Awadeh and his attorney, Eric Subin. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Nemer, let's start with you. I know we couldn't see the whole video, but it's chaotic. Walk us through what happened that night.
So I was front of family business on Staten Island the second night of the election. And an unmarked car walked into a parking lot, which is where my family business is. And they were making weird noises 12:30 in the morning, and they were playing with the speaker and the flashlight through the windows where you can't see, where it was tinted and it cracked a little bit from the top. You know, I yelled aloud. I said, guys, keep it quiet. People are sleeping. It's 12:30 in the morning. And they come back at me with a weird noise. And, you know, it sounds like it will make fun of, you know, not respecting my, my word and the way how I said it. And they just kept going at it with the flashlight and the speaker. And you know, I avoid them. 2 minutes later, I avoid them. I walked away to the side of where I was sitting, where I got arrested. And I was sitting down on a bench. The unmarked car drive off of the parking lot and recycle, made a U-turn in the middle of the street and come back. And both officers came out and wearing NYPD, which is I didn't know they were NYPD. And soon they came out. I did make it clear to them. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you guys were NYPD. I was just trying to tell you guys be quiet because people are sleeping." One of the officers asked for my ID. I asked a couple of times, "What do you need my ID for? What do you need my ID for?" It's not that I refused to give the ID. I didn't have it on me because I was just, I live up the block from the store. And he just kept going, non-explanation, very aggressive. Another officer kept rolling his arms. He had his fist ready, biting his lip, you know, and I kept calling for backup for no reason. Soon he came out of the car. He said, "You're going to get arrested tonight." I have no clue why, no explanation. Just, you know, he pressed the button. He called for backup. More cops start coming in. The more cops came in, he started getting louder. The other officer kept getting closer and rolling up his arms, getting more, you know, aggressive.
Yeah,
all my mind is on the officer on the left side hand, where he was biting his lip and he had his fists ready. You know, automatically you're not thinking now they're cops. You think of, you know,
exactly.
One of these street gangs. You're ready to fight, or they're ready to fight you, and you just worry about where exactly thinking, or what do you want to do?
And we can see it there we can see it there in the video as you're describing it. It seems like a quite experience. Eric, talk to me about this excessive force complaint you're filing.
Well, it's not just going to be excessive force. It's going to be false arrest if they continue with these trumped up charges, which the only thing listed on his desk appearance ticket is resisting arrest with no underlying charge. It's going to be assault and it's going to be battery in addition to a false arrest and a malicious prosecution. I mean, the police are allowed to use some force to effectuate a legal arrest, but they're not allowed to lay hands on somebody and commit a battery if they're not effectuating a legal arrest, which clearly this is not. I mean, you're showing some of the video footage here. We've got about 10 or so eyewitnesses, customers from this deli bodega, including some of the people who work there, some of Nemer's relatives who are also working there. And we've got surveillance video. I mean, this is Nemer's business. We've got a dozen or so surveillance videos from every angle of this building. You can see everything that happens here from soup to nuts. And Nemer didn't commit any crime or violation whatsoever. So this is not a legal or valid arrest in any way, shape, or form. So excessive force, and police brutality, that is going to be one element of it, but it's really an assault and battery at the end of the day. These police officers got out of their unmarked vehicle and came and escalated what would otherwise be a totally innocuous situation of a private citizen on his own private property, guarding his business around the time of the election night, concerned about possible tensions rising. And then tensions did rise, but it happened to be with the police, and without any type of legal justification.
Yeah. Now, just quickly, Eric, I'm only eyeballing it before we got to head out, but how many officers were there? Or Nemer, can you tell us how many officers? It was like 20, 30? What do you guys think?
It looks like about 20. And what the first two officers kept saying to him over and over again is, I'm going to get the whole precinct down here. I'm going to get the whole precinct down here, without any sort of explanation as to why. And he called in what's essentially a 1085, and he brought the entire 122nd precinct down for a guy minding his own business on his own property, committing absolutely no crime, which is completely validated by the multitude of video evidence that we have from the beginning to the end and then some. So it's really the entire precinct that's there to really just beat on this poor individual for really no legal justification whatsoever.
Guys, Eric, Nemer, I want to thank you very much. Nemer, I can see you're in a truck there. You're a working man, but you still came out and had time for us. Greatly appreciated. Best of luck on the case. And again, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So about 30 people or something like that jumped this guy because he was, quote unquote, making too much noise. That makes no sense. Terri, I'm even seeing a couple swings to the head by some of these officers. How do you think that fact will play out in a civil case?
Well, I think Attorney Subin put it very well. He stated that they're not just going to bring unnecessary use of force. They could also bring assault and battery and malicious prosecution if, in fact, the charges are not dropped. So I think they have a great case. I think the police should not have used that amount of force. It's only supposed to be necessary to make the arrest. And it didn't seem to me, one, that there was any necessary use, and two, that there wasn't even probable cause for an arrest. So I think they have a very good civil case.
I think so, too. It's going to be quite a case that we're going to follow along here at the Law&Crime Daily. But still ahead, Jeffrey Epstein's former madam accused of taking topless photos of underage girls. How long did prosecutors know about this incriminating evidence? And later, a daring rescue by police of a woman trapped in her sinking car that was going into a river. Hear from the officers who pulled her out to safety after this break. Welcome back. A dramatic rescue caught on camera captures police saving a woman from her sinking minivan. Angenette Levy has the video and more.
Well, Brian, this happened in Alliance, Ohio. And from watching this video, which is just under 2 minutes long, you can see that those officers arrived just in time.
Here, I got the tomahawk too. Bring those down.
Sunday night, 4 Alliance, Ohio police officers raced to the Mahoning River after a woman called 911. Her vehicle had gone off the road and into the water.
Oh my God, I'm gonna drown, ain't I?
They're all there. They're gonna get you out, okay?
Please get me out. Please get me out.
Here.
Officer Christian Tussey was in that cold water trying to help the woman.
I can't breathe. I got you. I need. Relax, Tussey. Relax. Yeah, I will, miss. Tell her to get away and bust that window.
Within 30 seconds, Officer Tussey pulled her from the van.
Take this tomahawk. Turn away. Turn away. Do it again. Other side. There. All right, get out. Ouch. Watch, Mom, there's rocks. Yeah. Come on. Is there anyone else in there? Here. Is there anyone else in the car? No. Get out. Here we go. I go.
Moments later, the van sank. And thankfully, that woman who was pulled from the water was treated for just minor injuries and allowed to go home. Police actually think she may have fallen asleep, which caused her car to go off the road and into the water. Now, earlier I spoke with the officers involved in that rescue. Two of them, they are officers Christian Tussey and Shane Tillman.
So I'm trying to go down as fast as I could, and she goes, "Just jump in." That didn't happen. Once I got to the where the water met the land, I didn't think about it. I just entered the water. I did think that it was going to be a lot more shallow than it was, though. Based on how close I saw the car, I figured I'd be in knee to thigh deep water.
You know, at the time, it is just another call. That's how we look at it. We train for these things, and received recent training as of this year to a teamwork type issue. And that's, if you've seen the videos, that's exactly what we did. We had a line of officers, and to help each other out, and not one of us could have done it alone. It took all of us, and I thought that was pretty phenomenal after the fact.
And that woman who was rescued actually thanked the officers for saving her life. As you could see, that man was going to go underwater and did actually go underwater shortly after she was rescued. Those officers remained pretty modest about what they did that evening. Brian?
I mean, thank God for that training they're describing. Angenette, has these officers, when you spoke to them, did they tell you that they've done these rescues before, or is this like the first one they've ever done?
Yeah, Officer Tussey said he had never experienced a rescue like this in his 9 years on the job. But Officer Tallman, he said he actually had something similar happen several years back. He said that there was a rescue that he was involved in involving a pregnant woman. So that would be very frightening, as you can imagine. You'd want to get that woman out of the water as soon as possible. And they said that they really don't do this ice water, cold water training. So this was really something new for them.
Angenette, are there any updates on how the woman is doing after this traumatic experience?
From what we've gathered from those two police officers who I spoke with, they said that she thanked them, and she's doing okay. Obviously, it would be very traumatic and dramatic for this to happen. You could hear, just listening to that 911 call, exactly how upset and frightened she was. She thought she was going to drown. And so I think she's very thankful for what they did.
All right, Angenette, thank you for that gripping story. As always, great reporting.
Thank you.
Terri, it was quick thinking that saved the day here. What's your take on these officers' heroic efforts?
Listen, when I watched that clip, I got chills. It was really good to see police officers who are, being shown in a very positive light. They are definitely heroes, and especially since, as we heard, they didn't really have that type of experience before. So kudos and congratulations, and, job well done.
Absolutely agree with everything there, Terri. Still ahead, we've got a close eye on an Ohio jury as they deliberate in a trial over a fatal pizza delivery order. Plus, court documents reveal new evidence in a case against deceased pedophile Jeffrey Epstein and his madam. We'll explain what this means for the criminal prosecution of Ghislaine Maxwell next. And we're back. The mysterious Doe 1 in the Ghislaine Maxwell civil case has been identified as millionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's former house manager. A newly unsealed deposition has revealed Maxwell is accused of taking photos of topless young girls at Epstein's homes. Maxwell is currently in isolation due to a COVID-19 outbreak in her jail. She is facing charges of sex trafficking and perjury. Former federal prosecutor and Law&Crime analyst Gene Rossi is questioning when authorities knew about this testimony.
Oh, it adds rocket fuel. This is explosive. The Southern District of New York, where she's being prosecuted, this just is incredibly important evidence against her, and it just amazes me how deep and pervasive this whole conspiracy was among Epstein, Miss Maxwell, and others to traffic and take advantage of underage girls. And I got to go back to what happened down in Miami with the U.S. Attorney's Office and Acosta, that plea deal that they worked out at the state level, and the U.S. Attorney's Office was asleep at the switch. It just makes me really upset. Makes me really upset.
Rocket fuel's a good way to describe it. Here to discuss this case is criminal defense attorney Linda Kenney Baden, along with Terri Austin. Linda, this testimony may just be from a deposition, but it definitely can come into a civil case and potentially a criminal case. Can you talk to us about the effects of how this testimony could affect that criminal case?
Well, let's first start with any jury pool out there. You know, people don't like anyone, whether it's a man, a woman, or anyone, is going to take pictures of young girls and put them in an album, which is what the allegation is here. The problem is does the Southern District have the albums, or is this relying on the testimony of Mr. Alessi, who was the house manager? That's the first thing. The second thing, in a criminal case, remember, she's being charged with perjury, okay? And then also the sex trafficking. Are any of the young girls that were taken pictures of, number one, you have to establish their age, and are they any of the plaintiffs in the civil suits that we've seen against the Jeffrey Epstein estate? So there's a myriad of uses here, Brian. All in all, it doesn't make her look very good.
Exactly. Terri, these depositions became unsealed after public records requests by the Miami Herald and dogged investigation. And as Linda is saying, kind of like, I don't know, we make start a hashtag where are the albums? How long do you think that the authorities knew about these allegations and these albums?
I don't think the authorities knew about it for very long, because I think they would have turned it over to the prosecution. Remember, they're going to try to go after Maxwell with every single piece of evidence that they possibly can have. So I think these pictures are really damaging, and I think it will absolutely help as far as charges against her are concerned. And so I don't think that they had the information for very long at all. And now that they have it, they will probably do everything they can to use it against her.
Yeah, and again, it's going to be interesting. Is this just testimony? Are we going to see photos? Are we going to see a whole album? Not sure, but we're going to continue to follow the Ghislaine case. And when we come back, we're taking you inside the courtroom as a jury decides if an Ohio woman placed a fake pizza order to lure her husband's ex to her death. Stay with us. We're back in Ohio as a jury is deliberating in the murder trial of a woman accused of luring an Army veteran to her death. Ashley Biggs was strangled and her body was found in a cornfield in 2012. Chad Cobb, the father of her daughter, pled guilty. But now, authorities are accusing Cobb's then-wife, Erica Stefanko, of playing a role in the murder. Prosecutors say Stefanko unknowingly confessed on a secret recording made by her mother-in-law. But her defense says Chad Cobb is the one true killer.
He pled guilty to his entire indictment. That indictment only had one name on it, Chad Cobb. He then drives that car to this area, farmland. He hides it there. But what's interesting is that that property is close to whose? Cindy Cobb and Jay Cobb. Why does Chad hide it there? He knows that area. He knows it real well. Right afterwards, he calls whom? Who's the first person he calls? His mother.
Prosecutors responded to the defense's argument, laying out exactly why they believe Erica Stefanko is guilty of murder.
There's no forensic evidence because she was never there during the killing. She had made the call and waited to pick him up or to follow him. Dropped him off and then waited to follow him and to take him home from that cornfield. Mr. O'Brien had mentioned the fact that why didn't Cindy Cobb turn this in? Because she thought it had no value because she didn't think that Erica was really, telling the truth, or I guess didn't believe her. I think the same reason Ms. Cobb didn't turn it in, and this is the same reason that Erica said the things she said. They didn't understand the law of complicity. They didn't understand that you don't have to be the one going into the bank. You don't have to be the one that actually does the killing. You just have to be the one that helps the one that does the killing. What did she do? She called dominoes to lure somebody to their death. That's complicity.
I mean, that's an interesting reason why the mother didn't turn over the video or the audio, but well, let's put that aside for a second. Terri, prosecutors say Chad Cobb killed Biggs. Chad Cobb says he didn't strangle her. If the prosecutors can't even get their story right, how does a jury do that?
Well, they're clearly having problems. They've already been deliberating for 9 hours. I think the problem here is, we know Chad Cobb is trying to blame it on Stefanko. Obviously, the prosecution is trying to blame it on Stefanko. So they needed to get their story together, and the prosecution needed to prep. Maybe that was the issue. He didn't get a chance to prep Chad Cobb. But, frankly, the fact is now everything is confused, and the jury is going to have a hard time trying to conclude who, in fact, did kill Biggs.
Poor preparation can be this case's undoing. Linda, Erica Stefanko divorces Cobb after he's arrested, then marries his boss/friend, and the mom then comes forward with these recordings later. The defense is kind of trying to argue that the Cobbs have an axe to grind against Stefanko, but do you think that's enough to avoid a conviction here?
Well, you hate Chad Cobb so much because he's a killer, and in the courtroom he said, "I'm not the one who strangled Ashley Biggs, sir." So he's trying to now blame Erica Stefanko. So something else is going on. So the question is, does the jury think the tape is accurate, or will there something else is going on? Stub one juror and give them a reason to say, "Hey, we are hung. We can't come to a verdict."
Hey, it's just proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and if you can interject that reasonable doubt, maybe the axe to grind, maybe the audio recording isn't enough. Linda, Terri, I want to thank you for coming out as always, and thanks to you for joining us here on the Law and Crime Daily. We'll see you next time as we discuss justice in America.